The At Home Show.
The At Home Show would like to celebrate National Boss Day by celebrating our very own David Bates. His singular vision has led Bates Nursery and Garden Center to where it is today. And on a related note, it's also National Liqueur Day. Kind of weird those are on the same day, huh? So, while you're celebrating both, pour a drink for yourself and lift it up for your boss. I doubt he's as cool as David, but, one can hope, one can dream, right? Live from the Green Room Studios, from the spacious property of Bates Nursery and Garden Center, 3810 Whites Creek Pike, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It means it's time for your traditional show. It's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates, and a cast of thousands, David Bates. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Josh.
It's good to see you in studio.
Well, it's good to be seen, and from the as well as I can see at the current time, which out of my right eye, which is my unaffected eye, is really good, and the left eye is coming along. But it will be a many weeks, if not months, long process.
Okay, don't fight as a lefty then. Don't go southpaw.
Yeah, so I have to turn my head to actually see you because peripherally there's something there, but it's not clear.
That's what people have always said about me peripherally.
There's something there, but it's not always clear.
615-499-6690. We're here for you. We're going to do the show. We've got the entire crew in studio this morning.
This will be a truncated edition today.
We got elephants?
Well, not that kind of truncated. I mean, it's going to be cut short, Josh.
Oh.
And because Tyler has another mission here this morning. He will be representing Bates Nursery and Garden Center for the Best of Nashville
Festival
going on today. So,
Yay, Tyler.
Tyler will be doing that, and so it's going to take him a minute to get all set up for that. So he's got to get out here a little bit early.
Too kind. Thanks.
So anyway, let's do the weather here.
Okay.
And of course, this is Saturday, the 16th of October. Moving right along here, 67 degrees for the high temperature today and sunny conditions. As a matter of fact, if you look at that forecast for the week out, it looks really wonderful. No mention of rain, some clouds from Tuesday on, but from now until Tuesday, it's going to be cobalt blue skies and seasonably mild temperatures for the middle of October. It's currently 51 degrees here at Bates Nursery, so there are no excuses today. No passes will be given for bad weather. Get out there and whatever you have planned, engage and do it.
It's going to be a little breezy, though, isn't it, this afternoon? They're predicting some gusty, blustery winds.
Well, that was overnight. We did have a 32-mile-an-hour gust, according to my weather station data.
Mm-hmm.
There's evidence of that in the greenhouse.
Well, yes, and you can see things blown over everywhere currently, but by the time we get open for business, that will have been rectified. There are. I'm actually surprised there's not more lying down than is currently the case. So, this is a call-in program, by the way.
It is.
We're back to that because Michael is here this week, and we actually have a way to retrieve.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we didn't have that feature last week, but it still worked out okay because Cary came through on all of our Instagram messaging, and I'm of the belief that we have some of those this morning, Cary. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Well, we will get to those. Before we get to anything else, though, is that this is also the what I would call the Thank You Nashville edition of the At Home Show. And on behalf of Bates Nursery, we were, for the 18th time, we have been voted Best of Nashville. So we really thank everyone who thinks well of our establishment here and is taking the time to vote us Best of Nashville. Really appreciate that. Also, it's the third consecutive year that my blog / newsletter In the Garden with Bates Nursery has placed second.
Silver.
a silver medal 3 years in a
Okay.
row. So hey, we'll take it for for some little old nursery newsletter. It's pretty high praise in a town that's known for writing.
Little nursery newsletter. Okay. Now, come on. How many people are subscribed to it, David?
Well, we're creeping up on 27,000.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, I mean, that is the size of a small town.
so
A little
anyway,
nursery newsletter.
I'm very appreciative
It's
of all
not a
those
little nursery, folks.
of all the folks who patronize Bates Nursery and follow what we do. And of course, it's a whole lot more than just me. This business has grown up to where we, as we will exemplify today, we've got a cast of characters that really help carry us along, both here in studio and outside. So thank you for that, and we invite you to come out and see us today. I want to make sure that we do talk a little bit about Bates Nursery as we go into the morning, because we'll be discussing that with Austin and Caroline both in their representative areas of the nursery, and we'll also entertain whatever calls or questions that you have within the confines of our shortened edition today. We'll only be running about 45 minutes. 615-499-6690. That's how you reach us. Call and leave a voicemail, or you can text us at that number, either one. Cary, what you got for us?
All right, let's go. Our first question comes from Ann_SMC. She asks, why are my pumpkins disintegrating right now? Ooh, sounds spooky.
Well, I don't know if you guys want to jump in on that, but we had a lot of rain in September, and because of that, the pumpkins sat on ground that you would normally expect to be drier, but it was not. They made contact with the ground for the damp ground for an extended period of time, and consequently, there have been some rot issues. We actually had to dump quite a few of what we had here early on. So if that is something that you got from us and it is not performing well, we'll be glad to make that right. If it is, but if in case it's just something that happened, it's not just an issue here. The pumpkins that were everywhere around were in, particularly those that were locally grown, where it was really wet leading up to it, and those kinds of things cause issues on pumpkins. So
I saw something that said that a lot of the folks are taking their pumpkins and recycling them, throwing them into the woods and throwing them into the tree lines for the creatures that are out there in the world.
Right.
And a lot of folks evidently wash their pumpkins with a bleach solution prior to doing it, because it helps kill some of the fungi or funguses that can cause some of that rot. But if you're going to recycle it, don't put the bleach on the pumpkin, because it's not good for the critters, as it were.
yeah, and I don't know that the bleach is really going to do much to deter those rot issues. While they may initiate from the outside, quickly spread to the inside. So all the bleach is going to do is be a topical thing right on the outside. I don't think it's really going to prevent or really even slow whatever rot that may occur. Obviously, pumpkins and all fruits that come off of plants are all organic in nature, and decay is where they're ultimately headed.
All are, David.
But not before. We don't want to get there before our time. That is the nature of the way the circle of life works. So 615-499-6690.
We do have a text message as well.
Oh my goodness!
No, doesn't have a name on it, but they apparently have a lemon tree. They brought it inside. Now that the weather's kind of cooling off,
Right.
Kept it in the bright sunshine, and they said all the leaves are falling off. Any reason why?
Probably just a move stress, if you will. I mean, going from an outdoor location to an indoor location, it's a quick change. So that's probably what's happening. I doubt your plant's going to die, But it will senesce a little bit, which just means lose some leaves. Hopefully it's on the interior of the plant rather than the exterior, but let it kind of acclimate. Don't give up on it yet. Keep your moisture level where it needs to be, moist but not soaked. And hopefully you'll see some new growth once it gets inside, and the warmer temps and the sunshine, it should crack some new growth for you.
Yeah, and one of the things that's difficult for people to appreciate and understand, our eyes adjust to light so quickly. What appears to be a similar amount of light indoors is not even close to being the amount of light that you would receive even in a shady spot outside. So even if it's in front of a window, it's only going to be getting direct light probably for a couple hours a day at most. So what Austin says is spot on. Just be patient. And the one thing that is easily the most difficult adjustment when you bring plants in from outdoors is the watering. And I'd like to hear Austin and Cary, both of you guys, talk about the difficulties people have in making that adjustment. We go from this period of time where we're having to water daily, some things maybe more than once a day, to now they're not needing watered at all or very infrequently because we're getting rains and the weather's cooling off and the day length's shorter, to moving them inside where the entire set of conditions changes.
Yeah, they do. And I was going to say on the lemon tree, if they're not adjusting their watering already with bringing it inside, that could also be the culprit for losing leaves. But with my lemon tree, when I brought it in last year, once I turned the heat on in my house, which it is propane heated, I was having to water my tree like twice a day because it would dry out so quickly. In comparison to outside, I was watering it like once a week.
You think that temperature, because it's been even at night, it's been muggy outside. Bringing it into an HVAC system where folks like to keep it about 71 degrees and it's 90 outside during the daytime, high 80s. Could that have caused a little bit of that problem as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the combination of water changes, if they didn't change it.
Lack of light, temperature change, all at the same time?
Yeah, all of it.
It just shocks them.
Do you need to put maybe a grow light on it?
It won't hurt, and particularly with a highlight plant like a citrus plant, having additional supplemental light on it. And LED bulbs that are available in this day and time are really a great addition to people who are indoor plant aficionados, because it does give you the ability to put plants in places that previously would have been almost cost prohibitive because of the difference in cost to operate an incandescent bulb over an LED bulb. So
not to mention the heat that sometimes comes off of some of these grow lights.
Right. Well, and the LEDs are much less heat productive, which is, of course, heat is the infrared part of the spectrum that we don't see, but you feel it. So that adds temperature or warmth to a room otherwise that might stay cool otherwise. They don't really need all that much heat, but they do need that light.
615-499-6690. Join us, folks.
Before we leave that too, I think we need to mention that patience is the key with almost all plants, and especially indoor ones. And you can't expect perfection in your plants just 100% of the time. Yeah, we strive for that, but are we going to get that? Usually not. Plants don't always look perfect all the time. So give it some time and let it be ugly for a little while. It'll be back pretty again.
She'll be beautiful again.
She will.
Well, and this transition and the change of watering habits from outdoors to indoors is a radical transition, and you're going to move in from widely variable outdoor conditions to more controlled, every day is almost the same kind of conditions. And as we move, as Cary already mentioned, as we move into the heating part of the season, where that you're driving the humidity level down, the plants will begin to dry much more quickly than they would sitting out in the, we're having humidity levels that are not falling below the mid 70s.
Right.
So things just don't dry out much, particularly with the shorter day length outside. So there's a lot of adjustment that you need to make. Use this little tool at the end of your hand here called a finger to test the soil.
One?
Well, it could be that one. It could be that one. And you could use any other one.
The longest one?
If you choose to use that one, you can.
If you're feeling salty that day.
It depends on and how you do it. Now, I moved my hibiscus in about 10 days ago. I put it down in the basement. I've had more blooms since it's been in the basement than almost all summer long.
Now, I will venture to say that you had a lot of buds on there already, and then putting it in the basement did not cause it to bud up.
No. I'm just saying it popped all of a sudden as soon as
you sent a couple of really excellent photographs of it out. That won't be the case as you move on through unless you add light to it, like we talked about. Using LED type bulbs with a timer, you're not looking to light anything 24 hours a day. Plants like the darkness, but they also like the light, just like they like moisture, and they also like dryness. They just like it alternatingly. So
because the stargazer hydrangea that I've got, then I put her inside too. Him, it's Picard, John Luke.
Okay. Yeah. Josh is the member of our cast who names his plants. He personalizes them. The rest of us just...
Do you name your pets?
I don't have any pets, Joe.
Currently,
yes.
You want a cat?
Nope.
You sure?
I'm sorry.
I can get you one.
No. They're widely available.
Well, I mean, you're adopting these things, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they need a name.
Well, how many times have you called John Luke and it actually came to you?
About the same amount as the cat. Okay, cats are not like dogs. I mean,
no, but they have a way of making their eternal needs known. They don't ever give up on, letting you know. It's always on their terms.
As long as mommy's around, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 615-499-6690. But the stargazer hydrangea is not looking real great down there. Do I need to put him toward the most lighted spot?
Yeah, you say stargazer hydrangea. Stargazer, I don't know a stargazer hydrangea. What species? He's a big leaf.
I think he's. I think he's confusing too. He's put one name.
Got it here. I mean, I took it home right from the set.
Yeah, it might not be maybe it's a stargazer type of lily. Maybe.
No. Okay, I'll look it up. I'll report back next week.
What color did it bloom?
It was kind of white and pink. It had a very unusual looking flower. That's what caught my eye. It was, I think you guys had several dozen of them when I.
Yeah, and that's part of the
Put my face in here, guys. It is a macrophylla.
Okay.
Called stargazer.
Well, how come? Why are you bringing it in?
It's in a pot. Do I need to put him back outside?
I would just let it kind of go dormant naturally, and then just kind of keep it protected a little bit, maybe in a shed or
maybe plant it,
or just plant it in the dirt. Yeah, then you ain't got to do anything.
Yeah, I got to find a spot to put it. That's a thing.
That's what we tend to do with plants. We find spots for them and we plant them. I mean, now there are.
I have to go through the committee. You understand?
Not a plant that is. It's not a plant that is grown with the designation for being an inside plant. It doesn't mean you can't use it that way, but there are greenhouse type cultivars that are specifically grown as indoor plants. Although many of them could be used outdoors. The stargazer one, however, is one that will be reliably hardy here.
Okay.
And so you're making life tough on it and yourself by trying to haul it in.
All right.
That's my thought anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's a part shade lover, zone 5 to 9.
Well,
plenty hardy.
So, put it outside.
See why I watch and participate in the at-home show? You learn something every week.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Cary, what else you got for us over there?
All right. We have a question that's coming in from Fergie Ferg 20. And she asks, how can I make my aloe vera grow? I would say with that, fertilizing it, I fertilize it once a month during growing season. So as we move into winter, you probably won't want to fertilize it again until the spring. And then people see aloe vera and they think that it's, it looks like a succulent. It is a succulent. It looks like a cactus, something that's going to be in the desert that it wants full sun. But they don't. They thrive in indirect sunlight. I have mine on my front porch that gets no direct sun. And it stays like a bright green through the summer, through the spring. And then when I bring it in, I just keep it near a window. So it's not going to grow a ton right now.
And like a lot of plants, or like almost every plant, they have a range of light conditions that they can exist in. And if you have it acclimatized to a lower light conditions, the foliage changes. It becomes much more supple and much softer and enlarged. Therefore, it's more able to take in more light because it increases the leaf space. If you put that in direct sunlight, once it's been acclimatized to lower light, you'll sunburn it. Mm-hmm. So those kinds of things are what it's a good idea to the things you're going to be bringing inside, such as aloe and all kinds of other things that are more sun lovers. It is a good idea to have had them in an area where they got a little bit less sun and a little more adept at dealing with. Because even a semi-shady spot outdoors is going to be about equivalent to what seems to be nearly full sun inside, because the number of lumens is drastically different in those two settings. Okay.
That is correct.
There you are.
Lumens.
Hey, let's talk for just a second about Earth Mix garden products. If you want to have really good success in growing your plants, you can't do that growing in a poor or even mediocre soil. If you're going to invest your hard-earned money in quality plants, you also want to plant them in the very best soils and amendments on the market, and that, of course, is Earth Mix garden products. And we're proud to support Earth Mix here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, but also it's widely available at other independent garden centers and businesses around the Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, even up in Indiana and Ohio. You can get a complete list of where those are by going to earthmix.net and click on the Find Earth Mix tab. And once you get there, you'll see that all these pins will appear on the map, and those pins are indicative of locations all over. You can zoom in or go over here to the address bar and type in your address for turn-by-turn directions to a seller nearest you. Now, Earth Mix garden products are 100% sustainably produced and 100% organically produced. So there's no chemical additives. That's all done with the tools that Mother Nature gives us, using great things like mycorrhizal fungi and humic acid, those things that create the best, most productive organic growing environment. So whether you're looking to grow outdoor plants for your landscape, or if you're looking for containers for outdoors or for indoors, there's an Earth Mix product that is especially blended for that purpose. So check it out, earthmix.net. And remember, this success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. So check those out. I think you'll find the results are spectacular.
Really are. All you need: plants, Earth Mix, sunshine, water.
Yep.
Period. That's it. That's it.
That will do it.
Every time. Hey, speaking of that, I know that there's another very good Earth Mix customer out there. The old Buffalo. Want to thank Buffalo for his generous gift of his hot sauces and the peppers.
They really do some wonderful things with their gardening efforts, and he's very enthusiastic about it.
Yes, he is.
And he should be, because they do a wonderful job. So thank you, Buffalo, very much so.
I will say that I took the nuclear peppers and I regifted those.
Did you
Buffalo,
now? Well,
yes,
did you make those who you gifted them to aware of what they were getting?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Or you're not that kind of guy then. Well, that's good, because
I was thinking about maybe, for Halloween, dipping them in chocolate and putting them in a bowl, but people can't give away handmade gifts anymore at Halloween. So it's been a long time.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Popcorn balls.
Oh, I remember them well. All kinds of little chocolate candy.
Oh, the lady that had the candy apples.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Candy apples are always a challenge to eat. They're a little
sticky.
Yeah, you can't eat those on the fly. You have to kind of.
There has to be
you have to be in one spot.
Well, the fly doesn't get off. Once it lands on a candy
once he
apple.
lands, he's stuck.
But I mean, you have to have a certain ambient temperature and the relative humidity.
If it's too cool, you can't eat those things. They're just
they stick your teeth together.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Halloween. But no, I want to tell Bill that I took the Tabasco peppers and I've stringed them together and I'm going to dry them. So we're going to see how that works out.
Well, it'll work out well because my grandmother she would string these long. I mean, it would look like a flower arrangement. She would have all these peppers all strung together and hanging.
Did she talk with her hands too?
She did.
Okay.
That's part of what being a Bates is all about, is talking with your hands.
You got Italian blood in you, I guess.
Genetically, it doesn't show, but apparently there are other overriding issues that create that.
615-499-6690. That's the number to join us if you want to tell us about your whatever you want to tell us about, or if you got a question, or you're going to move your stargazer back outside today. You get them going.
One of the things that people need to be thinking about, and I typically will write about it in the coming weeks, as our average first frost date is usually between the 15th and the 20th of this month. Now, given how climatic changes seem to be occurring, that tends to push that date a little bit later. But the same issue still arises regardless of exactly when that occurs, is that you're going to be moving these plants from the outside to the inside. And
or vice versa.
And when you do so, you're going to be bringing in hitchhikers with them if you're not careful. So I'd like to hear Austin and Cary talk about getting things ready to bring inside, and the possible spraying you should think about doing before you do that.
I'm in the middle of doing that right now.
Yeah, give it a nice spray down, even if it isn't chemical related. Just looking at the plant really well. I know we've talked about this. Front side, but also back sides of leaves are way more crucial. Down in the crevices and cracks of plants is where a lot of nasty little bugs like to hang out, like mealybugs or scale insects, which are a little bit harder to get to. So just giving it a look over before you ever bring it in. First off, doing any pruning you may need on some old leaves, maybe some yellowish leaves, lower leaves that are looking a little rough. Go ahead and get rid of them. Look at the top bit of your soil and see, kind of scrape off anything that's on top, like leftover leaf debris, and just give it a good cleanup before you move it in your house. You'll have a lot better winter with your houseplants if you
even just that. Water, Austin. I mean,
even just water. That's the first line of defense. So if you don't really want to use chemicals, I'm not a big chemical guy. Now there are organic options, soaps and horticultural oils that work well. But you got to be very targeted when it comes to those insects. You actually have to make contact with the bugs. So just if you see bugs and you can use a spray of water and just clean them off, that's the most organic you can be.
Yeah. Now there are things. Say if you have a palm tree that you're bringing inside, it could be loaded up with scale on the bottom side or back side of the leaves, and that's what you talk about. It's a really critical spot to look. You might just look at it from the top. So, well, it looks good to me. If you don't take the little simple action to turn it over and look at the back side of the frond, that's where the surprises are.
Yes.
Down there where the stems all come out, you'll get mealybugs down there, scale in there. So if you're not looking at those, you have no idea whether to make. You may have an infestation that's sufficiently bad that you make the decision to not bring it inside, because if you've got other plants in there, you are bringing those in to your other plants that may be clean otherwise. So there may be some decisions you need to make. There are times when you have to use something that's a stronger chemical. And if I was going to use that, I would want to do it while it was still outside. It's still warm enough to be able to spray it, let it have time to dry, and be able to observe. So you probably got perhaps a couple of weeks here before we have those kinds of weather conditions. There's nothing it shows right now, but
we're talking 40 degrees in Smyrna.
Yeah, well, subject to change without notice. So it will arise and arrive quickly at this time of year.
Okay. Now, do we have any other questions, Cary?
Yes, we do. And I did want to touch one thing on bringing in houseplants in the winter. I do clean all my leafy plants with neem oil. It gives me a chance to clean off all the, dust and anything that's fallen on it from being outside. It gives me a chance to take a look and make sure there's not any pests, and it's going to go ahead and kill those things on contact. And then my leaves come in looking shiny and clean.
And smelling good, too.
And smelling okay. I don't love the smell of neem oil. I know some people do.
Yeah, I think insecticidal soap smells a lot better than neem oil.
I do, too, yeah.
Do you really?
No, yes.
So much better. Okay, well, our next question is, and our last question, and this is more, I think, up Josh's alley. It comes from FLG427, and it just says, patching holes in vinyl siding.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah. Go ahead and buy you a vinyl patch repair kit.
Well, David, you've been listening to my opinion of vinyl siding for nigh on to a quarter century now.
Yes, sir.
And it is still true today that the pyramids were not made from vinyl siding. They were stone. So you take it with a grain of salt, LG. If you can find a piece of the same color, same pattern, it's not an easy fix for the average homeowner. You got to have some
they
tools.
They come in really long pieces.
Usually it's about 12 foot 6 inches long, and you have to take the seams loose, and you have to pull the nails back, and then if it's down right in the middle of the wall, you got a mess there. Now, as far as a patch, I'm with David. I don't know of one that is going to be particularly effective and long lasting. You might try finding a colored tape, for lack of a better word, just to cover it up. Depends on how big. If it's a baseball, you're in trouble. If you've got some BB holes, you might even try just a dab of sealant or caulk over some of those holes. But the nature of vinyl siding is that you have to be able to, if you walk up to it, you should be able to move it a couple of inches in both directions.
And it's designed to be
It's designed to do that because it expands and it contracts and the heat. I
mean, I guess you could theoretically take if you had a piece that had gotten severely damaged.
You might be able to
maybe the grill got too close to it and it melted it or whatever. You could take maybe a Dremel tool where you can cut a very clean edge and cut a piece out that you could lay in there. And like you say,
you could try
and use white duct tape to tape.
Well,
the
white. I mean, there's duct tape comes in a rainbow of colors now, but duct tape outside's not going to be a particularly long-lasting thing.
So what is a more long-lasting approach to if they've got a spot they're going to try to repair as opposed to trying to...
I see a real trend for folks taking vinyl siding completely off their houses and using more of the cement siding. It's happening a lot in Middle Tennessee.
So that's like
or just new siding all the way around on the houses, because it does tend to get, over a period of time, particularly the blues and some of the other darker colors, they tend to fade, and you can see it. It's very obvious in some of the places that you see it. But the cement sidings that are out there now are the bomb, in my humble and personal opinion. But they are not maintenance free.
Well, no, and if you drop them, they can break.
Right? They're very brittle. But you're not supposed to play basketball with it.
When the fasteners are applied to those, are they drilled before the fastener is put in, or you can just drive a nail through it and they won't crack and break, but if you smack it with a hammer, it might shatter.
Oh yeah, again, baseball is not a good thing. You don't want your kids out there using it, putting up the target for the pitchers. You don't want to do that. It's designed to be a siding, and the same thing could happen even if you had old poplar weatherboard or cypress weatherboard or whatever.
But the good thing about those are that they are comparatively easy to patch. I mean, you can make a good looking patch in
David's Dremel tool analogies. Let's just say a piece 6 inches long in a cement siding. It's a whole lot easier to cut and get 6 inches of it out and put another patch in there than it would be. You're going to have a surface nail that you're going to see, but you're probably seeing those too. You just don't really, you have to get out there to take a look at it. If you don't like my opinion, you might call a place like Narandex up in Nashville. They're probably one of the largest distributors of vinyl siding in Middle Tennessee. ABC Supply does a big business with it as well. So,
all right.
And finding the right color, the right pattern, if it's got any age on it at all.
Yeah, and that's another one. That's another one of the difficulties of vinyl siding is whatever color you choose at the outset, you're
pretty much stuck with.
Yeah, you don't get to change colors. I mean, it doesn't really hold paint well.
And siding is great. I don't care for it myself for a home that I would live in. I mean, but there are lots and lots of it.
You might do a little patch job and then look at your landscape situation and say, well, maybe I can cleverly disguise this spot by planting a viburnum or something that's larger that will give you some degree of cover. Yeah, something over that where that is less visible. So consider those options.
I know what we could do. We could put a wisteria right there beside that vinyl siding and see what happens.
Well, if you don't mind it taking over the entire end of your house, you can do that. Wisteria is one of those things
it'll
that
pull the siding off the wall. And
if you ever get it established, getting rid of it is almost impossible. I mean, it's one of those things that can clearly be invasive if it's put in a spot where it's not able to be managed. So I'd plant wisteria with degree of caution and have really made an educated decision on that.
All right, we're moving up on toward the end of the show, so I mean we've got plenty of time.
We got a few minutes.
We
left
got a
here.
few minutes, but I wanted to ask, as 2021 seems to be the year of the hydrangea, and everybody has done such a wonderful job, and they've been so pretty this year. Everybody's still got these dead-headed blooms. I mean, what are folks generally needing to do to them right now as it's turning cold?
You can simply do nothing if you don't want to.
That's my choice.
Yeah, I'm about to say I know me and David both have Annabelle type hydrangeas at our house, and mine are still up and brown. I haven't cut them back yet. I'm starting to get annoyed by them, so I will cut them back soon. But other than that,
is it the hydrangeas, or is it just a general annoyance that you're taking out on the hydrangea?
Yeah, kind of that I've got to do that because I've got some camellia back behind the hydrangea, and they're kind of shading them out, and this is their time to bloom, which they are blooming right now.
I often say that one of the best ways to work through bad feelings is some really aggressive trimming. It allows you to get up there and cut. If something's bothering you, by the time you get something like that done and cleaned up, you've forgotten what it was.
Yep, that's right. So I'm a little bit more selective with my pruning on the hydrangeas anyway, and I think we all ought to be, with the limelights and the little limes, the paniculata hydrangeas, you can give them a pretty aggressive prune if you have to. They don't mind at all.
Now, one of the things that concerns me about trimming hydrangeas at this time of year, and it only matters if you have a really wet winter, is that they are a hollow-stemmed plant. So if you cut them back and you have water continuously standing in those stems, I have seen them rot out over the winter. Typically on mine, I like to start to see the beginnings of leaves start to just be emerging.
Just pushing?
And then you can cut them back. I mean, I cut mine back to the ground, and every year they really come back up thick and full, and I've not had any issue with that at all. But occasionally, if you have a really wet winter and you've cut those back and those hollow stems stand in water, it can rot them out. Maybe not completely, but it might at least partially kill them out. So,
and we do have a La Nina winter coming, as I understand it.
The girl will speak whatever
way.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That typically means wet and cold, right?
Yes.
Fun.
It seems like that's been Middle Tennessee for a while now.
It does seem that way. We certainly
Wetter and colder.
We certainly had it last winter. It would seem like to me, from my perspective, it was a pretty wet and cold winter. So we'll see what it's like. The main thing, the way that we always try to approach it is that you prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So if you keep those things in mind, prepare as though it's going to be bad, then you don't get caught in a situation where you might possibly have to be trying to drag things inside to protect them at the last minute. And we'll get into that as we go into the more winter part of the season. We're nowhere near that at this point, so just enjoy the wonderful autumn air, and the weather, of course, looks wonderful. I'm going to take a moment now. Let's talk about Bates Nursery and Garden Center and what we try to do here. And first of all, thank you, Nashville. We really want to thank everyone who voted for Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Best of Nashville. This is our 18th time, and we never take that for granted. We really appreciate the honor and the accolades that you bestow upon us. And we do work hard for it. We've got quite a crew of individuals here who know their stuff and are really interested in helping you to get the right plants in the right place the first time. And that's the way we try to do it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And by bringing out on your smartphone or on your tablet photographs of the area you're working on, that really helps us a lot to be able to help you to get those plants correctly chosen at the outset. I also want to extend my personal thanks to all of you who voted for In the Garden with Bates Nursery, the newsletter that I write on a weekly basis. And that was, for the third year, voted the second favorite.
Silver medalist.
The silver medalist, which you know what, I'm very appreciative of that. And this week you can see
there's room for improvement, David.
There is room for improvement. Okay. I do work at it every week. This week I wrote about vitreous humor. And if you don't know what vitreous humor is, well, read my little newsletter there, and it'll explain it to you somewhat. So.
May I jump in here and congratulate the entire staff for the 18th award of the Best of Nashville. And folks, part of David's commercial used to be it's worth the drive from everywhere. Now, I live in Smyrna, Tennessee. Anywhere. But everywhere. Everywhere is the same thing. Yeah. I know. I did it a couple of times, too. You did take a day off. But you really do need to come out here and experience the shopping pleasure that you get when you walk onto the lot. There's usually music playing. There's an always activity going on. David talking about his staff. They are second to none. If they would haul lumber, I would probably steal a bunch of them if I could. But
we're going to keep that. We have to handle some lumber, but we always buy it from you.
Well, you try. I mean, I understand. I mean, but folks, it is a great place to shop. It is a great place to just visit. I mean, and you can see the garden center inside. You can see the indoor plants, continuing improvements. The bagging operation, I imagine you could probably get a tour of if you really wanted to, and get everything going on. But the selection is second to none, and you really do need to come out here to appreciate what it is you see.
And as a way of saying thank you, I will be appearing magically in a tent from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. today at the Musicians Walk of Fame downtown, which I believe is right near the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And you're going to get the spot with Dolly's.
We're going to be handing these guys out. $5 off. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
200 of these bad boys will be going away today.
But you can only get one. You can't. Nobody can have like a stack of them, right? You can have one, right?
No coupons.
Only I can have the stack.
Okay.
Wow.
You have
the keeper of the stack.
Okay.
So you're going to want to make sure and go by and see Tyler today down on the Musicians Walk of Fame. That's a part of our participation in the Best of Nashville. And of course, several members of our staff in present attendance, myself excluded, we got to go to the Best of Nashville premiere event on Thursday evening, and really grateful to get to have so many wonderful individuals in my employ. It really makes what we do possible. I'm just one guy. It takes a lot of really special people to put out there what we've got. Other things that I think are of interest to you is, number one, in addition to the at-home show, we do the Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp that Tyler is actively engaged in, along with Caroline and Austin and others. So we're always talking about things, and those are archived out on the website, batesnursery.com. And additionally, you might not be able to get here, but you still want to shop. Go to batesnursery.com and you can shop online. Everything we have pretty much is shoppable right there. You can order that online. You can have it delivered to your house without ever coming out here. So if you're not able, or maybe your circumstances are such that you need to get some things, just can't make it out here, don't hesitate to check out batesnursery.com, and we'll bring it to you, or you can come out and pick it up. We'll do the shopping for you.
Now, Kim Bradley sent me a message, and she's watching on YouTube this morning. She is suggesting...
Good morning, Kim.
Yep, she is suggesting drenching any containers that can be lifted. Lots of critters live in the soil.
That's a great idea. And do that in if you can, like a week in advance of the time you're going to bring them in. They need to have time to dry out, and you also want whatever chemical that you're drenching the soil with to be able to have time to work through. So keep that in mind. Soils are alive, and when you've got them out, particularly if you've got a container that's sitting on the ground, it's going to have the ability to for critters to get through the drain holes by direct contact.
Do they go through the hole?
They can do that.
Wow. All righty, folks. Well, we're going to cut off a little bit early this week but next week, maybe we'll add a 15 minutes next week since we make up for it.
We'll see.
Fall back, lean forward, jump sideways. Fault. It's just a jump to the left. It's just a step to the right.
Here regardless.
Yeah, go out and see Tyler today out there at the Country Music Hall of Fame Walk of Fame.
$5 off coupon.
$5 coupon. You can get a coupon. Hey, for everybody here from the Green Room Studios, we appreciate you joining us and we appreciate you participating. We'll see you next Saturday morning at 0800 right here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.